Hello YouTube! Once again, Vash the Knight here, dressed as Link from Legend of Zelda series. And good news, Fred's back from his campaign.
All of my bones are broken.
Oh no. Here. Take this red potion. It'll help you. Health potion always works.
Oh.
Fred's fine, folks. He's just, yeah, he's hurt. He got his helmet, though, as you saw, fresh from his campaign. Today, in honor of some of my garb here, we're going to be doing some throwing weapons like kunai and shuriken from the Edo period, roughly 1600 to 1800s, Japan, and video game weapons. And we'll even get a little bow work in. So, without further ado, this is Vash the Knight with Fred's Adventures. Just shook the camera a little. That one.
Oh, God.
He's fine. We have the Altair sword from Assassin's Creed 1 here. Now, this isn't an officially licensed one, as it is more of a knockoff. But as you can see, it features the bird head pommel and wing guard. And it's a relatively short and lightweight sword. So I'm rather interested in seeing how its edge works with a thrust and slice at this cap. So, I'm going to stand over here.
Please hold this.
Hold the sheet.
Alright, so first I'm going to do a thrust, and then if it's still intact, maybe I'll do a downward slash.
Okay.
3, 2, 1. That's not good. We will be right back.
Hiccup, folks. We have some ghosts back here. So, Fred's going to go for a thrust, and then going to try for a slash on this jug.
Alright, 3, 2, 1. I missed. 3, 2, 1. Look. It did indent and actually stab it a little bit. You can see that. And how, somehow, it's still intact. Just barely, but it's still intact. So now we're going to do for more of a swinging motion. Top right to bottom left. Ah. Well, that certainly doesn't look good.
Well, prominently, as all video game swords probably are, these are purely for display to boast with your friends, even though, as I've okay, now as you saw there, as I've displayed before, display pieces, much like these video game swords, are in fact for display purposes only, but in a pinch, will work in the past. So now, our next test is going to be with the Genji sword from Overwatch. Stay tuned. I need healing. The infamous words said by Genji, the cybernetic ninja of Overwatch. Now, the katana itself, as we've seen in the past, has a pretty good slice motion, but this is a rather very blunt costume. In fact, if I shake the hand a little bit, you may even hear a rattle.
I heard it.
Yep. So, I'm going to take the stab here, and see if I can unleash a dragon.
Weeb.
The blade is still intact. Oh. The impact has actually done some damage. There's a small pin burst right here, and it's actually leaking from the impact, an initial strike from this sword. Now I'm going to do a little stab here. As I said before, this is a very dull sword. So we're going to try with something a little sharper next on this here jug, the Dante sword from Devil May Cry. We're back with Dante's Rebellion from Devil May Cry 3.
This is heavy and sharp.
It is a top-heavy broadsword much similar to the Gross Messer sword. But you don't want to hear me talk about the Gross Messer, so let's just see him chop.
Alright. Jeez. Well, sword didn't break. Still wobbly. You take that. However, it did do indent damage. To be fair, this was supposed to be wielded by a demon lord, and not, what, a kid who's still in high school? So, there's a fair assumption to say I'm just a wee bit weaker than Dante. However, it still did some pretty good damage, even causing a couple leaks, and what seems to be a burst from the back. Well, I don't think I can swing that sword again, but let's see what he can do.
And once again, Dante's Rebellion.
Wow, that was a cap burst.
I literally decapitated. Yes, even I think that's a bad joke. The jug. There was no actual slash damage done. So now I'm going to go for just a simple vertical strike downward for what's left. Once again, I'd like to remind our viewers, we do recycle these balls once we're done with them.
Wow.
A massive slash straight down into it. As I stated before, this is like the Gross Messer, a common sword that was meant to be a top-heavy blade cutting down on its enemies. So next is going to be the sword that's on my back in honor of Legend of Zelda Twilight Princess, the Ordon sword.
Stay tuned.
And we're back with my Ordon sword from Legend of Zelda Twilight Princess. Now, I want to first state that this was provided by Sword Axe, not a sponsor. I bought this from them years ago. And unfortunately, because I was unable to draw it, I had modified it by reducing the blade's length. But it's a fine sword, well balanced, so we're going to witness its slashing power and thrusting power. So, without further ado,
Wow! Alrighty. Oh god. That is...
it is not a very sharp sword, but as you can see here on top of its removal of the cap, it actually did some rather very hefty damage to the neck. So now, I'm going to try again with a thrust.
Ooh, I'm excited to see this. Well, that was more of a poke than a thrust.
Tell that to its body. Now, it probably fell out of its position because of the lack of water that came from it. But as you can see right here, it actually did insert the tip into the main body, causing an effective thrust for something that has actually been modified with a much duller tip.
Well, what next?
Next is actually going to be another historical piece that has also made its way into many video games, the Horsebow, which is going to be firing 2 arrows, a target arrowhead, and a hunting arrowhead. Stay tuned for the difference and the stringing. In my hand is the Horse Recurve Bow by Top Archery, not a sponsor. I forgot what poundage this actually mentioned on the film and website of Amazon.com, but I can confirm of how to show how you string it. As you would string any other bow, you lock it in between your legs, which I did backwards here, sorry. And then you pull the top forward and get the loop in to string your bow properly. Now, as always, with any bow, you have your long limb, which needs to be on top, and your power limb, which is on the bottom. Now, Brett's going to fire first using a target head arrow. Stay tuned.
Alright, I'm not the most experienced at this, but I will be doing a half draw. Jeez, that's a bit of pull. I've actually never fired an arrow before, so let's see how this goes. Tell me if I'm doing it right.
Yeah. Now, release. Apparently the aim was off. So, I'm going to be doing... Well, we're going to give Brett another chance with the bow.
There's actually an impact on that doghouse.
Yeah, and that's a bad thing. So, stay tuned as we set the arrow back up. Okay.
Only one.
Draw a little more back. And fire.
Well, as I said, I'm not the best. But let's give the one who actually knows what they're doing the bow.
Stay tuned as I will be firing the hunting head arrow. Welcome back. I have the hunting head arrow, which has a larger, heavier, and pointier head compared to the target arrow that Brett was using. The hunting arrow was meant to pierce through hides as thick as a boar's. Much like the boar spear in one of our previous episodes, please watch those. So, without further ado,
Huh.
I missed. See if the arrow's intact. It is.
It's a miracle!
Tip got blunted a little.
Well, round two.
Yeah. Second touch shot. Maybe a little less power.
Wow. Okay, let's get a close-up on that real quick.
Now, I'm about to show you the devastation of the hunting arrow with just a simple half pull of the horse bow. As you can see here, it not only pierced, but it drove deep into the up lip of the log. But with such ease, it just went right through it, no problem.
Oh, it's just devastation.
So, from what I can tell here, is that most definitely a horse bow is a good bow to have. No matter what you're doing, hunting, target shooting. Heck, if I hadn't put up pads over there, I'm pretty sure I would have ended up with one damaged, and I mean badly damaged, propane tank if I used full draw. So, unless Brett wants to try another target shot,
I don't.
this is Vash the Knight with Brett
Hi, nerds.
saying have a nice day.